Today's video is all about a beautiful sky. We're going to ink in these simple shapes and textures, and then we're going to spend a little while popping in this rather fascinating, soft, rich sky with our watercolours. So you'll need the biggest brush you've got, you'll need a set of colours and a pen, and let's go. Now the reference for this I will link down below as well, so if you want to join in, please do. Right, first things first. I like to start most of my sketching with a very fine pen. So I'm going to start with this object here, this little church. And all I'm thinking about is the shape I see. And I see a triangle with a little kind of ridge to it. We've then got the roof, which is a rectangle, essentially. And the exact details in this really unimportant because the scene is all about that sky. But I'll spend a little while just popping in a few of these shapes I can see underneath. Over here we got another couple of shapes, and then I'll bring down the wall, and the same here. And now everything else is fairly like loose and non-specific, isn't it? So we've got these little silhouetted bushes. I think they're bushes, they could be trees. You know what, if you can't really see something, don't try and pretend you can. Just draw what you can see. And here I can see some little textures and not much else. Over here, these trees are really kind of spiky, little like evergreen, Leylandi type trees. So I'm going to get something of that idea on the page. And then move on. We've got this sort of distant stuff over on the right. And then if I move back to the left, let's just sort of even out our composition. So we're ending on a similar sort of point on the page on both sides. Into the foreground. This road is quite important because it does give us foreground. So even in a simple scene, it's important just to have a think about the composition. It doesn't just give us foreground, though, it also gives us this leading line through the scene. So it's a sort of something we can follow with our eye up into the sort of important part of the scene. Within here, a couple more of these textures, little things, simple, with an idea that these lines here, they're going to kind of give us something to sort of base our watercolours on. With that in mind, a couple of other touches, a little bit of hatching. And if you follow my normal step-by-step process, if you don't know it, I'll pop a link to a video down below so you can understand my step-by-step process. If you do know it, then this would be moving on to step 2, where we are building up from the simple shapes and just adding a little bit more detail, a little bit more texture. Part of that is simple hatching. So we can hatch in to all these silhouetted trees, for example, and that just helps separate out these hatched areas from the foreground. Same here. It also makes them feel a little bit darker, and they are darker. They're very silhouetted, very sort of bravely dark in the photo, aren't they? Quite stylized level of dark. Here, bit of horizontal hatching for the road. That just shows us that this is a flat surface. Now, I've recently started using myself a big bold pen as well as my little pen. The reason for that is it lays down these simple, juicy, big inky marks. And these inky marks just give us, again, it's that idea of presence, that idea of contrast. Easy to overdo, but if we do them in moderation, just a few marks here and there, then there we go. Nice and simple. And I think, stop fiddling, Toby. Need to stop fiddling. It's going to be my last line. I think that's enough for now. We can always add a bit more ink later if we want to. So I'm going to put my pens to one side and just move in my colours and my water. So with the water, we want our brush totally wet, but we'll also need a tissue, which I've got over here, to kind of help us control the water a bit. So if I do this, I don't want it dripping. You see how that's just dripping on the page? That's not enough control. So I'll pick up those drips of water. But now, still dripping, take a little bit more water out. It stopped dripping. So now my brush is damp enough. That's what we're looking for. Not something uncontrolled, but something full of water nonetheless. Now, using that idea, I'm going to mix up the colours I need. Yellow, red, like purpley, dark colour. So I've got Hansa yellow. Going to get a good lot of that out here. And that red is organic vermilion or scarlet lake, depending on which brand you buy. Underneath, this is where I put my blues, my murky tones. I'm going to get a little bit of lavender and a little bit of cobalt blue. And we're kind of going to see what's happening. We'll have to adapt on the go depending on how rich the red goes. Now, super easy technique for getting a soft sky. Just trying to make sure I've got a bit of blue in that yellow. So number one, make sure your colours are nice and clean to start with. So let's try that again. Perfect. Super easy technique. Pop some juicy splatters on the page. If it's not splattering easily enough, hit it harder or add more water. We've got some yellow. Now we're going to do the same with our red. Red's very intense colour, so we don't want as much red as our yellow. It's all about knowing what your pigments do. Then we've got our lavender cobalt. Chuck that up here. See that? Chaos incarnate. But a lot of fun. Underneath, I'm just going to pick out some of the lighter tones. This is a little bit of Mars yellow, which I'm going to splash in here so that we can move everything around. Now we need that brush not dripping, ready to go. What we're going to do, oh, it's still dripping, still too wet. That's better. What we're going to do, we're going to move around without lifting our brush very much at all. Just when it's getting dry, that's when we'll lift it. Connecting some of these dots, not all of them, and we're not going backwards and forwards. We're not trying to soften everything. We want a little bit of randomness in there. That's why we did the splatters. Coming down, I can bring these same colours into the foreground, and we just got that sense of light coming through. Do you see these bits of light in the photo? That's this light coming through. Now, we can see the sky has softened very nicely, but we want a little bit more intensity. So now I'm picking up pigment and just touching it in, and that will just gradually move. Can do the same with red. Remember again, that red is going to be more intense, so we need to be a little delicate with it. And here I might just move around the page and just let that float and flow around. Then I think I'm going to pick out a fun colour in the top. This is a colour called Tundra Violet. It's a little mixed colour. It looks very dark now. It will move loads. It will change loads as well. So it actually has that little purplish tinge, doesn't it? It sort of has that feel of this colour, but it will change a lot as things move around. I'm just going to soften things up a little bit. If you can hear that, that's Betty having a little sleep growl. So apologies for Betty, my dog's sleep growling down there. Just want a little bit of that red to come in amongst our violet, our Tundra Violet, and pull it down as well. Pull that down, move it around. Whilst the page is wet, we can push and pull and create a bit of fun. To help me with that, I've been using an enormous brush, but sometimes as we're getting towards the end of the process, we just want to pick out a smaller brush that helps us get these edges a little neater, pulling the sky down into a sort of crisp edge just in a few places, and then a little bit in here, a little bit in there. So this is our light again in that foreground, these patches of light just coming through. Now, not much to do at this stage, apart from maybe splatter on some water. That'll get us some more texture. Maybe if we're feeling brave, perhaps foolish, perhaps brave, we'll splatter in some of these darker touches. And now we just kind of got to wait. This page has to dry. If we touch it anymore, it will get very muddy. So, put everything down and go and have a little break. So we are back, and we can see things have changed a lot. The edges of the painting are still a little bit wet. And what we can do, if we want these edges to be a little darker, just pick up a bit of, I've got indigo here on my brush. We can feather that in gently, only where the paper is still wet, but that will give us those darker edges instead of having that very dominant red spreading everywhere. But the joys of wet on wet painting, you never quite know what's going to happen. But the one thing I think we can add to this is a bit of this presence in the foreground. Now, the foreground is very dark, and some people will want to fill out that entire dark area. I'm personally not one of those people. What I want is to get some of the suggestions of light and dark with soft shadows, a little bit of movement in those shadows, but not sort of really going to try and make my watercolours that dark. For me, watercolours, if I try and make them like this, they're just too thick, and they're not, they lose the light. They're not as happy and carefree. So for me, I'm using a bit of my Tundra Violet and just going to be using my smaller brush and coming in under some of these lines. Remember how I said these lines are little areas we can deposit our colour on later. And then a little bit of a warmer colour, here's a bit of Lunar Earth, just to soften in, feather in to those edges. Hopefully these ideas will give you something to play with though. Over here we've got these little shapes that I drew in, which are hopefully suggesting, I don't know, little tufts of grass or something along those lines. And I'm just going to fill them in and give them the same treatment, a little bit of softening in with a warmer colour across the pavement, across this sort of road, slightly drier brush marks, and maybe reinforcing the sense of shadow here, just helping that ink, where I've tried to give it a shadow, help it out. We could just connect things up here as well. Really, I guess if we're on my 5-step process I mentioned earlier, step 3, that was the kind of loose colours where we let everything flow. Step 4 was just then adding in all those little bold touches, and we're basically on to step 5 now, finishing touches. That's where we pick out tiny little things and do our best not to overwork things. So that means sometimes stepping away before you're sure you've finished it. Now, for me, a nice little lift into these shadows with a bit of blue, bring some life back. I don't want things too dominant, too heavy. You can use that same blue in the foreground here. It gives you value being a sort of sense of darkness, because blue is quite a punchy colour, but it also gives you that sort of happiness, the kind of emotion that comes from different colours. I think blue is, at least blue like this, is definitely not a negative colour, is it? And you know what, are we done? I think I'm going to look at that and say we're pretty much done. I am having to let it dry one more time, and we can come in with a tiny bit more ink. Our page now is what I would call bone dry, completely dry. That's important because if we're going to come in with ink on top, we don't want the ink bleeding over all of our efforts with the colours. Now the reason I thought it might be nice to come back in with a little bit more ink is because we can just recollect some of these lines, not making them really bold. This is using my fine pen again, but just going over the outlines and making it feel a little neater, connecting it to the edges of where the watercolour have ended up. And that just separates things out really nicely. That's my interpretation of what it does. Is it gives you that feeling that, right, this foreground is definitely in the foreground. It's not somewhere like behind the sky. It's sitting in front of that glowing sky. And we'll do the same with the actual foreground. I call this foreground, which of course it's not. The foreground is really our stuff going on in the front. Here, these little patches of white make them feel more purposeful with a bit of ink. And then into this foreground, we can find these edges. We can link things up. Got all these fun watercolor textures, and our ink can just support them. Again, it's going to be really easy to overdo this, and I'm sure some people will be looking at this thinking, what on earth are you doing? And that's fine. And maybe I'll regret this, maybe I won't. Maybe it will work really nicely, and there's probably at least a couple of people looking thinking, aha, yeah, that's much better. I didn't like it before, and now it's okay. Again, all opinions are valid because they're your opinions. Here, again, you can just like look and see the balance. Just needs something here, I think, doesn't it? There's just the very foreground, just a little bit empty. Same over here, and that means I can add my signature, pop something over here just to balance out the composition, gets it feeling more symmetrical on the page. And now I think, putting the pen away time, I really do think we are done. And we've got not this exact image, but we have some of the drama of that image, don't we? We have the idea of that movement of the sky, the light, the dark, presence of the foreground, nice space through the middle. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please do hit the like button, subscribe, maybe even leave me a comment and let me know if there's anything in there which was particularly useful. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.